That's still okay? Correct. Yeah, it was.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, family and friends of Kathleen, Virginia Stein. I'm trying to say that the way you say it. We always call it Stein in Scotland. I'm working hard. I'm working really hard here. Stein. We're on live streaming, so welcome to those who are viewing through live streaming. And although they can't be with us today, they are certainly with us in spirit. Just a reminder regarding mobile phones. If you've got a mobile phone with you and you've forgotten to switch it off, you might want to put that to silent. There are other people going to speak today, and those of you who are speaking, when you come up to the podium here, you're able to take your mask off. But those of you who are remaining seating down there, you really must have your masks on. You must. Welcome all of you, family and friends of Kathleen. Here we come, and as we come, you've no doubt got so many different memories. You will have memories from all sorts of times and places. You'll have memories going back far and maybe some more recent. And you don't even control these in your own minds because they just come as they please. And you can be anywhere and at any time some memories come back. Sometimes the memories are from decades ago, where you wonder, why did that pop into my head? You could be driving your car, you could be anywhere, and this memory comes in and it certainly could distract you if you were driving. But I always hope that you're with somebody else at that time when such a memory comes to you, and you can turn and say, do you know what I've just remembered? And share that memory with someone and see the smile break out on their face. We come with all sorts of memories today. Remembering husband, remembering children, Terry, Denise, Russell and Andrew. Siblings, June, Nancy, Jeffrey, half-sister Elizabeth. Perhaps some of you will go back further and recall times of him with his parents, her parents when she was a lass, with Nellie and Wallace. Or if not, perhaps it was through photographs and stories that she told of when she was a lass and how the world was such a different place. Such memories. Here we are in support for each other. At times like this, we still come in support despite COVID virus because we're only human. We do our best, but we are only human. And still we greet each other outside with heartfelt hugs, handshakes. We try not to, but we're not good at keeping social distance. And especially not just now when we need each other. We need the closeness. There's some more than comfort. There's maybe even healing within the closeness of a hug. And where that hug is something that you hold on to for a bit longer, or a handshake that you hold on to with two hands. We just need each other at times like this. This is the way humans have always gathered ever since we were human. As we come celebrating a long life, a good long life, and a good life. So it's a good long life. We celebrate this life, but as we do, I can see there are still tears in the eyes. And as humans, we can do that. We can be celebrating someone's life with laughter as we remember the very, very best, with tears rolling down our faces. We can do both. We can both laugh and cry at the same time. It's the wonder of being human. The other thing that we do at times like this is perhaps play some music, or music triggers us off when we hear it. We read certain pieces, and they remind us, they stir up memories. Some of these are our oldest writings of how we coped with our grief, how we got through, and who got us through. These things have been written of for centuries. Some are our oldest writings. They're so special to us, we call them sacred literature. Others are more modern, expressing just the same thing. I like this reading because it you can almost hear her voice in it over this Scottish accent, but you can hear her voice in this one. And I think this would be typically something she would say to you all. Don't grieve for me, for on this earth I've lived each year gone by. I've seen the wonders of a birth and experienced a loved one die. I've wealthy been, for in those years I've loved and been loved too. And in between each rain of tears were skies of clearest blue. Don't grieve for me, for well we know, as nature does decree, that every living thing which grows and blooms still death must see. I only hope that on that day I will no shadows cast, that grief or sorrow will not stay or linger in the past. My race is run. I've no regret. So grieve not that I die, but grieve instead for those who never were as fortunate as I. As I say, I like that because you can probably hear her voice in it. The strength of character. A matriarch of our family, still passing on instructions through the family to the youngest, oldest to the youngest. Kathleen Virginia Stein, born 7th of April 1931, born as one of 5 children to parents Nellie and Wallace. One of 5 along with June, Nancy, Jeffrey, and half-sis Elizabeth. Due to Dad's work, she grew up in several areas, moving around, as many did in that generation and no doubt still doing this. After leaving school, and she left school at a very early age, leaving school at just 14 years of age. Goodness me, it's like a child, isn't it? 14 years of age and launched right into the working world. Her first job was in a tie factory. Yeah, making ties, maybe something as bonny as this wee tartan tie. But she worked in a tie factory, which is always seems to be quite a funny thing doing that in Australia, where men hardly ever wear ties. But anyway, she worked in a tie factory. They were no doubt far more popular then than they might well be today. She had to get a long walk to get to the station, to get the train, and then from the train, more walking at the age of 14. As I say, launched off into the wide world of working. From this, she moved to working at the milk bar. This was a job that she enjoyed so very much because it was a very socialising part of her job was to socialise. So she enjoyed that so much. It was round about this time that she met William, of course known as Bill. She seemed to do everything in early life. After starting work at such a young age of 14, she then got married at the tender age of 19. Married in Victoria. They settled in Dandenong, and of course next was family, having their 4 children, Terry, Denise, Russell and Andrew. And there we are with a rose in the middle of the thorns. Yeah, I know. Did I say that out loud? Sorry. With her 4 children, and with their respective partners, James, Tracy and Sally Ann. From the joy of having her own children, she would then go on to have yet more joy. It's not further joy, it's just more joy, a different kind of joy with 11 grandchildren. Kelly, Christian, Ben, Amanda, Justin, Alice, Jessica, Jaden, Ethan, Jacob and Brianne. Maybe not all in the right order, but there you are. And as if that's not enough. And it's one of those things when you get to this kind of age, you start looking forward to these next stages. Grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So she'd have 12 great-grandchildren. Bowen, Austin, Aria, Madeleine, Luke, Chelsea, Quinn, Leo, Reuben, Rumi, Daniel, Annabelle. What a joy all of you must have been in her life. Without anything else in her life, that would have brought her enough joy for every single day. Do you know that? That would be enough joy in life. But of course she had further joys. Kathleen and Bill moved from Victoria to New South Wales as he got a job with the bank. And he was then posted back to his hometown of Foster. Kathleen took opportunity at this time to drive. Learning to drive on the roads, learning to drive on the golf course. That's a bit of a pun. She wasn't driving the car on the golf course, but she was learning golf on the golf course. She took advantage of the time there. They were there for some 3 years. Their next move was a bit south, Marrickville. This time Kathleen would take up cake decorating, Scrabble, morning teas with the other ladies of the bank. The next move was Balmain, for the sake of the education of the children, I'm told. The home that was always thought of as being the family home was the home at Earlwood, where the last of their children, Andrew, was born. The family home, a place that houses more than just family living, but houses so many family memories, countless memories, different for each of the children at those different stages of life, some just arriving and some just leaving, but different stages, different memories. Kathleen and Bill parted ways. Kathleen then stayed on at Earlwood. Her interest in golf had grown by now, and she was able to play as often as she could, even 3 days a week. Besides this, she enjoyed playing tennis and had the company of the other mums, the other young mums of the area. It was a good sociable time then, when neighbours were all getting to know each other, and their children did too. Kathleen made a further move, going right up north to Queensland to be closer to her sister, a place that she had often visited on holiday. She lived there for some 8 years. But of course, missing her children, and that made her move back to New South Wales and to the Central Coast. While in Queensland, Kathleen enjoyed her early morning walks. She enjoyed her handcraft. You'll remember her knitting, making beanies or tea cosies. She holidayed up to Queensland to see her sister, and once overseas to Fiji. She had a love of music, the likes of Louis Armstrong, and then, a bit later in life, Neil Diamond. You know fine well and just how much she loved the op shop. She volunteered to work in the op shop. A great day out for her was going to the op shop, and I know that some family members took her there. She managed the Lifeline op shop in Queensland and was known in all the op shops. I think there's 5 of them at the entrance. She was well known. It brings a smile to your faces, I can see it. Just the thought of her going into the op shops, or your memories of taking her there. And somebody did say to me, yeah, just buying some more rubbish. It made her happy. Kathleen, she enjoyed a wee bet on a Saturday, and also loved the whole event of the bigger bet at the Melbourne Cup. She loved getting dressed up, and I think there's maybe a couple of photos we're going to see of her well dressed up. She enjoyed a dress up. And the Melbourne Cup presented one such fabulous occasion for the whole dress up and a bet. And she also loved a glass of wine, no doubt at the Melbourne Cup too. For the past 4 years, Kathleen was living at William Cape Care, where I'm told the staff and care was, and I quote, wonderful. That's good to be able to say, and it's a relief for many of the family and friends to hear it, that care for the one that you loved was wonderful. So thanks to them for that. Of course, the last 10 years, getting older. Anyone who's getting older tells you it doesn't come alone. It begins to be a bit of a struggle, and the last 10 years for her had been progressively difficult. It's not just how she copes with that and how you see that she copes and how you learn from that. So that's how you cope with that. But you also learn from other family members and friends how dedicated and devoted they are to visit every week or visit every day, never letting anything get in the way, but always persistent, being faithful in visiting. So that's what gets you through. And that is what gets someone through. Not just 1 year, but 10. I'm not sure if it was 5 she was given, but she got 10. But that's what love does. Love gives you more. And there's a lesson in all of this for us. There is relief for Kathleen, that she's now at peace, and there might be relief for you also, that she's at peace. Although at the same time you're brokenhearted that she's gone, but you're relieved that she's at peace, but you're brokenhearted that she's gone. You're pulled in 2 different directions. Again, as humans, be relieved that she's gone. Be at peace that she's gone. And celebrate her life. Kathleen, be at peace. So we have other family memories now, and this is always a privilege as others share with us their own private memories with us, and I always think they allow us into their own fragile hearts at this time as they share with us. So first of all, we're going to hear from Bowen and Austin, if you're ready.
My grandma, Kathleen Stein, played a huge role in my life, as without her, I would not be the young man sitting in front of you at this very moment. For me to express what my grandmother meant to me, I think that I can speak on behalf of my brother, Austin, my sister Aria, and more so my mum Kelly. Our grandma was the type of person that would go out of her day to make you feel better when you were down, angry, sad, stressed, or even in need of advice. A memory that I always cherish is when we used to pick Grandma up from the train station with the biggest smile on her face. She would make us her famous cups of tea, as she knew they were our favourite. Another special memory of mine would be on Christmas Day every year, when my grandma would always peel my prawns without me asking, as she knew they were my favourite, and always saw me struggling, craving to get a bite. Every time she would save the day and become the prawn peeling queen we all know her to be. I'd like to finish by saying that my grandma Kathleen was an amazing woman and is a person that will always hold a huge place in my heart, forever. I love you, Grandma. And I hope to one day be able to grow into the man you always wanted me to become. Thank you for your love, kindness, and support. And I hope I make you proud. Thank you.
What did Grandma mean to me? She meant the kindest person in the world. She was the kind of person who would go out of her way to make sure other people are doing all right. One memory that comes to me is when I was little. I used to wake up really early. She did as well. We all know she was an early riser. I would have to wait till everyone else got up to eat breakfast, and I would be waiting with her for everyone else to get up. She saw this, and without hesitation the next morning, she made me breakfast early in the morning before everyone else got up, and I cherish this because she went out of her way, even making two breakfasts for me and my family. Another memory is when I got a school project about the olden days. Mum was, as soon as I got home, Mum got on the phone with Grandma telling her that I had a project about the olden days. The next day she came down and we talked for hours and hours on end about how everything was, how technology was different, how cars were different, how everyone else dressed differently and talked differently. Me and Grandma made a massive poster about how everything was, and I was really proud of it. When I went to school on the day to present it, I saw how fortunate I was to have a great grandmother, as I saw most of the other kids didn't even have one. So I cherish this a lot because I had something that other kids didn't, and that was a great grandmother. And on the day when I got my marks back, I got one of the best in the class because of how me and Grandma worked on it together, and we were at a ceremony together. And I was on the stage getting my award, and she was crying with tears of happiness, of how hard we worked with each other. And it was probably one of the best memories I have with her. Thank you.
Well done, both of you. Incredible. You know fine well your nan would be so proud of you today, speaking like that here. You know fine well. There's a lovely poem, I don't think I've used it today, but there's another one where it finishes with the words, "Go on now." Words of encouragement from such a great-grandmother. Go on now and make me proud of what you'll become. And you even mentioned that in what you were saying. You will. She'll live in your heart forever, and she'll still be your inspiration until you're an old man, speaking about your olden days, when you were a boy. Go on now and make me proud of what you'll become. Elise is going to come and say some words now. Where's Elise? I hope you've got a good accent to go with this McDonald name.
Okay. Sorry, it's on my phone. Okay. I just want to mention that due to COVID restrictions, my sister Jessica and Rumi couldn't make it today. My nan Alison was also going to be here and she couldn't make it. Okay. Kathleen Virginia Stein. A daughter, sister, mother, mother-in-law, great-grandmother, and our beloved Nana Kapati. Growing up with my nan, I have a lot of fond memories and little rituals that I already passed down to my children. I remember we would go and visit her on school holidays up in her bachelorette pad at Mermaid Beach. We would go for walks along the beach and she would show us how to wiggle our feet in the sand to find pippies. Then, to my 8-year-old horror, I would find out they were to be used as bait later on for fishing. We would walk every day that I was with Nan. She loved to walk. She loved to be near the ocean. She loved to fish. Nan wasn't afraid of getting her hands dirty. Our highlight of our school holidays was staying with Nan in her little apartment, and the bedrooms would look over this magic mountain with a castle on it that would light up at night, and she would tell us that there was witches living there, once again terrifying my 8-year-old self. We would watch great children's movies with her, like Legends of the Fall, Piano and Alien at 8. Every single day that I've had with my nan, we've shared a cup of tea together, like I'm sure many of you have too. When I was younger, she would make us tea with tea leaves. If we would ask for a tea bag back then, she would say, "That ain't a proper cup of tea." At the end of the tea, she would turn my cup upside down, turn it to the right, to the left, tap the bottom, and she would read my future and tell me stories. Nan loved telling stories. It was around this time I asked my parents, "I have 2 nans, how can we tell them apart?" And they replied, "We can give them nicknames." Well, you see, my other nan loves cats, so she was called Nan Pussycats, and this is how we got Nan Cup of Tea. She was titled Nan Cup of Tea, and this was always her name through all the cousins, all the grandkids, and now it's passed on to the great-grandchildren. Christmas was never dull with Nan. She would go into a code of silence and would become the fastest prawn peeler you've ever seen. We would always say to Nan, "Please don't bring us gifts, please," but she couldn't resist a bargain. One Christmas, I must have been about 12 years old, and I opened a beach towel from my nan and I thought, awesome, this is great. As I rolled it out in front of my extended family to see the towel, it was a lady dressed in a leopard G-string standing in front of a lion roaring with a caveman tattoo on her bottom. Yay! After the presents and the Christmas feast, we would always find Nan having a nana nap, catching flies, only waking to make sure her teeth didn't fall out. My nan was very environmentally sustainable with her half Christmas and birthday cards and second-hand bargains from the op shops. Nan was my ultimate fashion icon, always colour blocking, wearing matching 2-piece tracksuit set or a beautiful floral blouse. She loved her visor hat for a spot of tennis, some golf and some fishing, all with a all-white ensemble. Nan, I hope you're having a punt on the horses with a few wines with ice from your goon bag Traminer Riesling. We love you and will cherish you and all the memories we have with you. You've shaped who we all are. I know you didn't have it easy being a single mother of 4, but you've got 4 children that love you, 11 grandchildren that adore you, and 12 great-grandchildren that will never forget you. Thank you.
Well done, MacDonald. We hear now from Andrew, Sally Ann and Brianna. Not sure if you're all coming up together, but you can if you wish.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's a real honour to be able to talk about my beloved mother-in-law, Nana Cup of Tea, as we all know her as. She was amazing. It's hard to control the nerves a little bit. I'm Kathleen's daughter-in-law, Sally Ann, Andrew's wife. I met her in 1989. I recall thinking, wow, she's such a strong lady, tall, and would walk so fast because she had the longest legs in the world. She lived in Mermaid Beach, Queensland, and she'd ring Andrew, when are you bringing her up? When are you bringing her up? I want to meet her more. She got up at 4:45 one morning, and I said to Andrew, why is she up so early? And he said, that's Mum. She's always up early. She'd be getting ready for the day. She was an A-grade golfer and a social tennis player. And I just was amazed how humble she was. She never skided about how wonderful she was at sport, because I was not sporty at all, but she just went off in a day. She adored her family, and she'd often talk to us about her childhood with her siblings June, Nancy and Jeff, and the love of music, and how she'd chop the wood with her dad. She had great delight in all the grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Would spend a lot of time with us in Helensburgh on the property, having fires in winter, down near the hay shed, toasting marshmallows. I think she just adored that. Helping in my little shop, I had a little cake shop, and she'd be telling everyone what they needed to have on their sandwich, not what they wanted. She'd say, you need mayonnaise. If they said no, she'd just want to put it on there. We spent a lot of time at the entrance north because we were the ones from Sydney, so our kids loved the dipped ice cream, the cones, ice cream cones, and they had Milo on them. And our son Ethan said, Nan, I think, introduced me to the most salt and pepper in the world with the salad sandwiches. Our daughter spent the school holidays rummaging through op shops with her to find a bargain, listening to the horse races and ABBA. We celebrated many milestones with you, Nan, and you always said to us you're never going to get older. She was always 49 and 59 and I think 64 in Andrew's eyes. Kath had amazing little sayings that our kids just loved, and all their little friends. I haven't had that since Cocky was an egg, or underground chicken, which was actually rabbit. With her diagnosis of dementia at 87, our life had changed somewhat, moving from her beloved entrance little townhouse to reside at William Cape Gardens was an enormous adjustment. Andrew and I would go up there, and we'd have these, what she called originally car adventures. And we said, yes, Nan, the car adventures. Andrew put the music up really high. She'd sing and dance along to the music. She just adored her son, Andrew. I think he was her biggest fan. We had the best time with her, and he enjoyed his phone call with her every day, which she adored. Her new love of sweet foods were Neenish tarts and numerous sweets that Denise would bring her each week. Andrew would be on the phone and she'd be munching away, and he'd say, what have you got? And she said, Dan brought me something, but that was a sweet. And she loved cappuccinos, but she didn't drink coffee. And a good meat pie. She loved Nora Head's Cafe and the Lighthouse. Andrew would get the little walker out of the car, and she'd walk up there as well as she could do, and she'd look at Andrew and she'd cuddle him, and she'd say, I love you, and he'd say, I love you too, Mum. I was able to pray for her and speak to her about heaven, that heaven is real, and that she will have an eternal home with her family, with Nancy and June and her mum and dad and Jeff. a few weeks ago. As we all know, her health declined, but with her determination, she was able to see all of her family members before she passed. She was slowly slipping away, and it was very, very hard to see her in that state. Andrew and I played ABBA with her, and she was jigging around in the bed, and she took Andrew's hand and she looked into his eyes. It was just such a beautiful, fond last memory of her. She is always going to be missed. To say that's an understatement. We'll miss our phone calls, and I'll certainly miss her saying, "Is that you, Sal?" when I answer the phone. I've just got a little extract here from Breezy too that she wrote, that she said she might be able to get up and talk about her Nana. So this is Breezy's speech. Nana was always such an important part of our family. She completely intertwined herself into our home life and was a huge part of my childhood. I remember kindergarten, my teacher asked me who was in my family. And I said, Mum, Dad, Ethan, Jacob, Nan, and our dog, Labrador Oliver. That's how deeply I resonated with Nan, that she was in my immediate family. Nan and I would always share a bed. That's just how it went. I don't know how much she loved it, but I certainly did. We would stay up and chat for hours, and she would always tell me the same stories over cups of tea about having kittens in the bed with her. But we won't go into that. Laugh, everyone. One word comes to mind about Nan is adornment. She was quick-paced, bull at a gate, fast-moving, and very, very, very much go, 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 hurry, hurry, hurry. She was always extremely frugal. When those two characteristics were mixed, it was a sight. For example, she thought it was a waste to buy stalks of broccoli. So she would take her little knife into Coles, wrapped in her famous handkerchiefs, to cut the stalk off to save her money. I was horrified at the counter, thinking, wonder if they got a camera around. If that isn't Nan to a T, I don't know what is. I was very blessed to be the only daughter of 3 children, and I felt my brothers were always close, and I always had Nan as my little sidekick. I would spend every birthday, school holidays and summers by her side, going to the boutique, which is Salvo's and Vinnie's, getting groceries, barbecue chicken, broccoli and bread. We would often walk along the beach. We loved it together. It was such a special time. And we'd see a pot of dolphins. Nana was so pleased seeing pelicans and black swans, and I can still hear that funny little laugh. I was always very spiritual, so I wouldn't often ask Nan about what she believed in. Sometimes she would just brush it off. But one time we were going for our daily walk on Tuggerah Lakes. She spoke about wanting her ashes scattered in the waters. She could be softly how eternity was gently swimming with the swans and pelicans. I always remember that moment and her crystal blue eyes looking deeply, reflecting into the waters. This is the memory that I want to leave with you all today. Thank you, love, Breezy. Thank you.
Thanks, Sally Ann. On behalf of Andrew there and Brianna. Something Scottish about her, always looking for this bargain, to the point of cutting stalks off her broccoli. Got my deal. You'd go home happy, wouldn't you? We had a funeral of a 98-year-old here this morning, and both her and Kathleen had a similar thing about them, in that they just like to maintain a youth about them. And they both seem to have managed this by basically just lying about their age. Anyway, there we go. Okay, moving on. Kathleen's life, long and wonderful. So it's something about people making life wonderful for others, and that's come through clearly through everything you've said today. Making the world a wonderful place for family, but also for others. And so it's the most fitting song then, this Louis Armstrong piece that was one of her favourites, I gather. Wonderful world. Something of Kathleen's life then in pictures.
Ooh, dream of dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, and the dream that you dare to, oh why can't I? Well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white and the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like a lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. And the dream that you did.
That was terrific. Thank you for that. Thanks for getting into your photo albums and selecting those to share with us today. And I love the one you finished with there, getting the prawn queen. Been able to show those things that a few of you have mentioned today, her with her prawns. Louis Armstrong there sounding amazingly like Israel Kamakaolio. We now have a floral tribute. This is a really touching moment. We're going to hear I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen, Foster and Allen, singers from my part of the world. The floral tribute then, a touching moment.
I will take you to your home, Kathleen. I'll take you home again, Kathleen, across the ocean wild and wide, to where your heart has ever been. Since birth you were my bonny bride. The roses all have left your cheeks. I've watched them fade away and die. Your voice is sad whene'er you speak, and tears back, Kathleen, to where your heart will feel no pain. And when the fields are fresh and green, I will take you to your home, Kathleen. I know you love me, Kathleen dear. Your heart was ever fond and true. I always feel when you are near that life holds nothing dear but you. The smiles that once you gave to me, I scarcely ever see them now.
If anyone else would like to come forward, you're welcome to do so.
So many, many times I see a darkening shadow on your brow. Oh, I will take you back, Kathleen, to where your heart will feel no pain. And when the fields are fresh and green, I will take you to your home, Kathleen.
Elise, you mentioned some family members that weren't able to be here today. For those who would wish to be here but unable to be here for one reason or another, we might place a flower. It really is a touching moment. The families included the Lord's Prayer in the service today for your comfort. If you'd like to join in, you're welcome to do so. Or if for you it's a quiet moment, then have a quiet moment. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. From what we've been saying here today and what you've heard said, it's right then, isn't it? It was a good life. She lived a good life, and you can take some comfort from that she lived a good life. That does bring a comforting peace to the depths, to where we're sore. Here's a poem entitled, A Good Life. I look out through different eyes. I look up into the cloudless sky. I see a rainbow in which colours abound. I see the sun with a golden crown. I feel the wind upon my face, and hear trees whisper in this place. I feel warm and content inside. I can put my worries far aside. I stay watching here until it's night, until the stars come out shining bright. A shooting star, a constellation, or you popping in for a conversation. At last I lay me down to rest and reflect upon my life. So blessed. I think that's a lovely thought to leave with you today. Reflecting upon my life, so blessed, you might say. Thank you all for being here. You come to be a comfort to others, and lo and behold, you're comforted in turn. You're a comforting presence. Family will all be glad to see your face. And sorry for those who have been unable to attend. Our thoughts are very much with you also. If you'd like to join the family for refreshment just at the other side of the car park, you'd be made very welcome, and they'd be very glad there to see your face, which is very well hidden at the moment. We come together, and it's important that we do. We know that. We just need to be together. We also need to say farewell, though we don't want to do it. We've come to that part in the service where we farewell. For this we always stand in honour and in tribute. So if you're able, would you please be upstanding? Kathleen, we celebrate your life. We celebrate your life in our own. Our own is all the better for ever having had you in it. And some of us celebrate your own gift of life. You have run your race. You have crossed the finishing line. You have completed the course. We farewell you with words now of go in peace. Go in peace. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Go in peace. Something I can say with certainty from what you've even said here today. Her concern would not be with herself this day, but would be for you, going out of her way to shed a tear for you this day. She would wish you to be at peace. So how about I leave with you these words of a Celtic blessing from my part of the world that are so fitting for here. Deep peace of the shining star to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of warm, assuring, comforting love to you. Comforting love to you that you may leave here, even here, in peace. Go in peace. We leave to Neil Diamond, Crunchy Granola Sweet.
I got a song been on my mind. And the tune can be sung and the words all rhyme. And it don't say much and it won't offend if you sing with a tune that liable to send you home. Never knowing what you're blowing, and you're blowing, you're on the team. Good Lord! was out of touch. And he'd hide in the house and it didn't say much.